You have to find something you're passionate about. That's the first and foremost.
I want to make a difference in the world, and I think the best way to do that is doing something I can do well.
Enthusiasm is really what makes the world go round.
They try it once and realize that, hey, that was a lot of fun.
Just the good feeling that you got from doing that to helping someone, that's what's always kept me involved with volunteering. It's just that good feeling that you know you're helping someone.
I've always been involved in the community in some ways because I was taught to be a good neighbor, to help people out. I volunteer as a parent helper when my kids were in school, on field trips and things like that. I was one of those nice old ladies that does the baking. So I tied up skates. So there was always something I had to do.
Why I chose the volunteer work that I'm presently doing is based on going to the Volunteer Thunder Bay website. I looked over 209 positions at that point that they had listed, and the CNIB website right away stood out as something I was interested in. The information they gave, you knew that when you walked in here, or at least certainly you thought that you would be well orientated, you would be accountable to people. I really felt like I was part of the organization, and that was really, really important.
The reason I chose the volunteer work in this particular case was my family has been involved in this city since 1906. Some of the skills you develop as a volunteer are can be anything as varied as speaking in public, meeting people. At the museum, it's a tremendous place to volunteer because we have such a diverse board. I mean, we have young people on this board. We have people who are older on the board. It's a very diverse board, and everybody brings something to that table.
I had been involved with the Circle of Friends, which is a support group for people facing life-threatening illnesses. So it was through that I got involved with Hospice Northwest. And I've been brought up as a volunteer. My grandmother was a wonderful role model, and she was always helping someone. And so that was just part of my bringing up.
Currently, I've been with Volunteer Thunder Bay for a number of years, working in both their leadership development program as well as being on the board, and I'm currently serving as a treasurer. Today's economy has really hurt people individually, and if they're looking for an outlet, a place to rebuild skills, a place to put their skills back to use again, or to maintain skills that they have, they could certainly possibly do it through volunteering. And if you can get into something that really fits your needs, your short-term ambitions, or your long-term goals, then volunteering is a great way to just kind of fulfill what might not be available through work.
I'm a professor of geology at Lakehead University, and I volunteer for the Thunder Bay Literacy Group. I'm a member of the board, and I volunteer as a tutor because it's something I know I can do and do well and make a difference at. I'm an educator. I've been an educator all my life. I've also taught lots of kids how to read, and I thought, why don't I try stretching and see if I can help somebody else with their literacy skills. You can never forget what difference you're making when they walk out with a big smile on their face at the end of the day.
The people that come out to help and they inspire you to carry on more. I think people are maybe a little bit afraid about having too many time constraints. One of the best ways to engage a neighborhood and get them to come out and volunteer with you is to give them something that they can easily do.
I think it's really important that an organization has a key member that introduces volunteers, takes them throughout their organization, teaches them what's expected of them, and gives them a very specific role to do.
An organization such as churches or the local community center, they're always looking for people that will help out and get involved in organizing things and events and whatnot. So I think there's an opportunity there that people can get involved in a family volunteering way, and yet they can be together. So after supper they can go out for an hour or two or whatever and do something on behalf of their local community, their neighborhood.
What an organization needs to do to make volunteering real, I think, is to give them a sense of purpose. it doesn't help a volunteer to feel that, oh, well, I'm putting in all this time and nothing's happening. I think that's the worst thing you can do to a volunteer. You sort of chase them away.
If I had met a person that works a 9 to 5, they're tired, they have family responsibilities, and they don't have a lot of extra time for volunteering, I think what I'd say to them is that if you look on websites about volunteerism and how much people volunteer, even if one individual does 8 hours a year, which could be one isolated event, that makes a difference right in and of itself.
And if you can get into something that really fits your needs, your short-term ambitions, or your long-term goals, then volunteering is a great way to just kind of fulfill what might not be available through work.
In Native culture, there isn't volunteering. We call it sharing. We're to share our gifts with our community. So volunteering isn't a term that we would use in our culture because we're taught from a young age that we're to share whatever it is, our time, our food, our money, if we have it, we're to share it. We're called to share it. But before we can receive love, we have to give love. And as First Nations people, the elders teach us that's why we're here. That's our purpose, is to share love with one another.